As a 20, 30-year-old, you are offered the chance to live rent-free in a retirement or nursing home with the caveat that you must make an effort to spend at least a few hours a day with the other residents sharing meals, hanging out, etc. Would you take this opportunity, and why or why not? I actually did this in my mid-20s. I was a chef by trade at the time. I got the head chef gig at a community, but it was 2 hours from home. They told me there was one open in my town, but it didn't work out that way. It was great money, and I was newly married. To sweeten the deal and not lose me, they offered me a furnished room in the building, and it was only Monday through Thursday. Some of the best times of my 20s were had there. We went bowling every night, big dinners, movie nights, the whole 9 yards. I enjoyed it immensely and was almost sad when the opening became available in my hometown. As long as I was in a section with mentally sound people, being around people battling dementia and Alzheimer's would be too much for me to deal with. No, I basically did this twice in my 20s. I became a servant to the entire building, change a light bulb, run an errand, fix the computer. Loneliness wasn't the issue for a whole team of seniors living in the same building. Accomplishing tasks they weren't physically able to do anymore was their issue. Now, the opportunity to live free in a house with 1-2 seniors to be their helper and companion, I'd do that, but never a whole building. Second example, a family doctor moved to my area, where there is a notable housing shortage for rentals, generally rural area. There is one seniors apartment building that is very nice and not full. Special exception was made for the doctor to have an apartment until she decided to stay as long as she would do on-call medical for the building. She lasted 2 weeks. Said people were banging on her door at all hours, coming home to angry notes that she wasn't home at work at her medical practice. The Netherlands has this exact scheme for students. You could think of the few hours per day as a really easy part-time job that pays for your housing. The summer before college I worked in a nursing home under the table for 2 weeks as they had their security system revamped. My job was to make sure only people with employee cards got bussed in and none of the residents got out of the blue door that led to the dementia ward. The gig paid well enough, but FML it didn't pay nearly enough for the nurses and the asset I saw they had to deal with. I had some good memories at least, especially of a blind veteran that would always stop by at the same time every day to chat. He loved telling old war stories and I enjoyed hearing them. He was good at telling them. But the dementia ward would ruin that every night. So many of them screaming they had been kidnapped or that they didn't know where they were. I remember one had gotten out, kind little old lady in her pajamas. I found her on the side of the road trying to hitchhike to the mall. She was so determined to go I had to lie to her and say I was delivering a package before I could take her so I could get her back to the home and tell the nurses. No way, I'm in a rehabilitation center right now. That is pretty much the same thing, and I hate it. Therapy is cool though. I want to cook my own food. I want to work. And I need my freedom. Homes are full of old ladies who have decades of experience with crafts, solar and knitting support. Hell yes, you'd have to have the windows open all the time to keep the care home smell at bay though. No, I won't. My job can be fairly demanding, and I like my free time for working on my hobbies or relaxing. I'm a bit of an introvert, and I honestly don't have much in common with the elderly. Not to mention, a room in a nursing home isn't the sort of place I want to live either, regardless of whether or not it's free. Not only is my lifestyle not exactly compatible with the setting, but I'm afraid it might bother the other residents. I got nothing against old people, I just don't want to live in a community of nothing but old people. What's a few? If we assume that's 3 hours a day, every day, that's about 90 hours a month. Rent for a 1-bedroom where I am is about 1k a month. Rounding, $11 an hour, less than minimum wage. Not to mention that nursing home rooms are often vastly smaller than even a studio apartment and often don't have kitchens. May or may not allow pets. Probably not. No, I'm trying to have a dating life here. People who don't know what life in a retirement home is like. Carer here that works in a nursing home for people with Alzheimer's, dementia and severe behavioral problems. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I love working there, but living there would finish even the toughest person off. On one hand, that seems like a great deal and a good time to spend a few hours with these fine folks, but on the other hand, I'm not sure I could handle all the loss when my new friends pass away. Nope. I'm an introvert. Being obligated to spend time with anyone sounds like an actual nightmare. Love the people saying they can. Guess you have never been in a nursing home. All the death and sickness always around. The poor people with dementia or Alzheimer's and the behaviors that come with it. Not a chance would anyone want to live that long there by their choice. Yeah, I'd probably get some pretty great stories, and it would certainly improve their lives, but it's definitely not worth it for me. Dedicating a few hours of my day to anything is a tough ask, regardless of what that is. Probably not, unless the only other option is homelessness given the living costs in my area. I'm an introvert who needs alone time every day, and has worked in a nursing home before. Currently living with one elderly relative who has been experiencing increasingly severe dementia for the past 5 years. I would say no, absolutely not. He is depressed because there is nothing to remember and nothing to look forward to. He has not been able to articulate his needs for at least 3 years. He gets angry when asked to put on pants, poops himself regularly, and gets angry about that too. Sometimes he tries to hit housemates. Sometimes he lifts up my skirt because he believes I'm hiding something. He was living independently and driving before moving in with the family. He was a great man and still tries to be polite to others when he isn't afraid or ashamed. Cognitive decline takes away more and more of a person until there is not much left. Early dementia can damage a person's ability to feel enjoyment by physically damaging their brain. It takes serious mental effort to be able to respond with understanding and compassion every day with no end in sight.